The Nebraska Public Service Commission announced it has opened separate investigations into the two recent 911 outages that impacted much of Nebraska. Both outages involved telecommunication companies. The first, Lumen, and the second involved Windstream. The focus of the first investigation is to determine why the loss of service occurred over a wide area of the state. The other investigation is to determine why a fire and power cut at a Lincoln data center knocked service out in several counties. The commission says both investigations are aimed at preventing a situation like this from ever happening again.